Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode number 74 of the Four Animals, Four Earth show. Today, we are talking about cassava flour, which is a food growing in popularity for gluten free and vegan eaters. So, I know a lot of you are going to be excited to hear about this. I'm joined by my guest today, Oluwakemi Oluwasegun. Hi, Kemi.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Welcome to the show. I'm so excited that you're here, and I'm really excited for this topic. So, for everyone joining, Kemi is an entrepreneur. She has a few different projects going on. The one that we are going to talk mostly about today is her cassava factory, which is called Winners Food Processing. You are located in Ila Orangun, Osun State,
Yeah,
Nigeria.
yeah.
Did I
You
say
did
that
that well.
right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I would love to just have you first start off by setting the stage for us to describe where you live in Nigeria and what you love most about it.
Okay. I live in Ila Orangun. It's an urban area. So I love the fact that the place is quiet and there's no too much vehicular activity. And then we have a lot of people down to earth, not like the city where it's really bustling and happening. But then I love the people just because they are quiet. They don't live large. Yeah, and happy. They are happy. Yeah.
Oh,
I love
that's
that fact about the environment. Yeah.
that sounds absolutely amazing. Like a very peaceful place to wake up every day and get to see your neighbors and connect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So you have this cassava factory there. And for those of us, well, I'm saying us because I already told Kemi that I know very little about cassava. So this interview is going to be me learning a ton. And I have a feeling quite a few of our listeners as well. So if you're listening or watching and you don't know what cassava is, it is a flour. Well, actually, it can be made into a flour, but it's a food that is gluten-free, grain-free, and nut-free, and it's quite popular for baking, and it can be a substitute for like rice or corn or potatoes. So I wonder if we can just start with the basics. Can you describe to us what cassava flour is and how it's traditionally used in your country, maybe even some of your favorite foods that are made with it?
Okay. Cassava is a stable root crop that it's commonly found and eaten in Africa, and the scientific name is Manihot esculenta. That's the scientific name. So it's usually grown in tropical regions around the world. So it contains carbohydrates, very high in carbohydrates, and it's grown in Nigeria here, also in Thailand, Brazil, Tanzania, and Indonesia. So we have various species of this cassava, and which takes between 1.5 and 2 years of planting before it grows to maturity. So, and full maturity and harvest is between 1.5 and 2 years. But with the research of IITA, that's International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, we have now improved varieties that grows within 7 to 8 months. They are full, they are, they are into full maturity and ready for harvest. That's um, that's about it. And it can be used as for gari. It's a staple food in Africa. That's gari. We have the flakes, that's gari flakes, and then cassava flour. Cassava flour can also be used for animal food. It can also be used for animal feed to substitute maize. So cassava starch, which is tapioca, then you can also use it for starch. That's for clothes production. So they also use it. and then we have cassava balls, and then we can even use it to bake a cake, but it has to, it has to be used with flour. That's
Okay.
wheat flour. Yeah, you have to
Okay.
add wheat flour so that it can rise well. So that's basically it. And it's a very good gluten-free um, vegetable. It's called because it's actually a root tuber. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's actually a vegetable versus like a flour or a starch, even though it does end up, it can be processed into that and be used
Yeah.
that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Can be processed into flour, fufu, gari, and we use it as flour too. Yeah, as I said.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And I will include some photos of like what gari is and stuff in the show notes if anyone's listening and wondering. So we'll include that in the show notes. Also the leaves, right? So you can eat the leaves of this plant as well, and they have some sort of nutrients that are good.
Yeah, yeah. The leaves, it's the softer part. It's that the tip. We just cut about five from each branch. Just cut about like five from each branch, like that. And you use it, cut it up and use it as vegetables in your soup. You can use it with melon. Yeah, we use
Okay.
it with melon here. And it's very, very good, rich in protein, vitamin C and P. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
interesting.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool. And it's, I assume then, so if there's only about five leaves on each one, it's somewhat rare. Like, is it not something that can be, I guess, provide food for a lot of people? Is it more like a rare thing to have the leaves, or they're quite abundant as well?
No, no, the leaves are quite a bunch, but you have it, and it's very, very rich. It has comparable protein with eggs and soybean.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
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 which is amazing to a vegan's ears because, as a vegan, it's just you're always, right? You're
yeah,
trying to find the protein.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
Very good, very good.
Huh. I'm like, okay, I got to figure out a way to try these, to try all this stuff. So how does it work? So you said now it's down to about 7 to 8 months to reach maturity. Uh,
Yeah,
do the plants regenerate or do you plant new seeds? How does that work?
yeah. Now before we used to plant the roots, that's the sticks to get the roots.
Mhm.
Um, in the olden days, they used to cut out the tubers
Okay.
into smaller chunks like yam and plant. But then it evolved into using the sticks, that's the cassava stems. You
Uh-huh.
cut it up and plant. But now we also have the seeds, courtesy of International Institute of Tropical Agriculture. That's IITA,
Okay.
which has
Uh-huh.
branches in Ibadan. I had worked with them, and I know it. Now we have the seeds. Now we have the seeds.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I know I read that Nigeria is the world's largest exporter of cassava flour, but
Yeah.
also there has been a shortage in the
Yeah.
past. I'm not sure. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, in the past, a year now, for a year now, there's been a shortage, and it's because of the financial instability we have in the country. Farmers are not being able to access their farmlands through roads, and the insurgence of these vices that's been happening all around Nigeria. It's really affecting farm products, affecting farmers. Yeah, it's affecting farmers all around Nigeria. We are feeling it, but we believe that we will get through it. We will get
Hmm.
through it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it will come back. I mean, it seems like there's a demand for it there as well as outside of Nigeria, right?
Yes, there
Yeah.
is a high demand, high demand for it all around because it's getting known all around the world now. It's
Okay.
getting known. Yeah, people are
Okay.
really using it as a substitute and as an addition to wheat flour instead of using wheat flour wholly. So people add it, you
Okay.
know,
Got it.
because of the carbohydrate, the protein content, and all.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense that it would become a popular thing. So you started your factory, I believe you said, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you said you started your factory to feed the people in your community and for the women in your community to work there. Is that right?
Yes, yes, I did. When we got here about 5 years ago, my husband got here like 8 years ago, so I came to join him 3 years later. So when I got here, I started looking around to see the needs of the people because we are ministers of the gospels.
I think we're coming back here.
Okay,
I think we'll be
okay.
back in a second. Here we go. Okay, so I lost you right after you said that when you and your husband moved there and you started looking around for the needs in the community, and I lost you
Yeah,
then. So if you can remember back to where you, what you were saying at that
yeah,
point, you can say it again.
thank you. So when we got here, I started looking around. What do I do? How do I help them? So now I saw that they have a large cassava farm. They have large cassava farms. So I thought, how do I help them? So I brought about that idea that let me just put together this factory so that I can bring in women. They will have food for their children, food for their table, food for their family, and they'll be able to feed themselves. So I brought in about 5 women with me. We started it, but I saw that they were using the old method. They're still using the old method. So I started thinking, how can I bring in went online to search out how can I bring in new ideas into cassava processing. So I started using new methods. I found out that we can actually use a bigger um, plate in frying the gari instead of using small plates. So we had quantity and we had the quality. So I started using everything that I know online to help them. So it's been awesome because now we can fry without smoke getting into our eyes. Yeah, without smoke getting into our body, without us
Mhm.
smelling smoke.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Which sounds amazing.
Yeah. Mhm.
Wow. Okay. So that's really cool. So you were able to do that, and you were able to start up this factory, and then the production came to a halt when yeah, actually, why don't you describe that for us?
Yeah, actually, production came to a halt because of the things happening in Nigeria and all and all. We were faced with tax, paying tax and the rentage over the place because I was having, I just added a little profit so that to keep the place running, so that I don't just, yeah, I don't
Mhm.
want to I don't want to be too high for people to be able to afford so that people can afford it and they will be able to have food on their table.
Mhm.
So even children do come to my factory to work. Yeah, they do come and they need shoes, they need to buy sandals. I just tell them, do this and I will pay you.
Mhm.
So at times their mother will bring them and they will say, let them just do it for 2 hours because they have to read and all. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, so it sounds like it's been a factory. It's not just a cassava factory, it's really a staple in the community of helping everybody.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
That will really help people.
Yeah, it's really amazing, and it's making me think of your other projects, which I do want to talk about. But quickly before we move into them, I wanted to ask you about what do you see as the future for your cassava factory and the industry? I know you've talked about getting into planting, because it sounds like things are really hard right now to run the
Yes.
factory where you are. What are your thoughts about how to get it back up and going and what could be the possibilities moving forward?
Mm. Yeah, thank you very much. I think that's where I really need help, and I know God will send helpers because we really need funding now. Because the women has been asking me when are we going to start production again. This, but I really don't have an answer for them because I don't have the financial capacity now to go on. Because the for us to move on, the cassava tubers are now expensive. A truckload of cassava tuber is now 300,000 naira. And then we used to buy 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, but now it has gone like haywire. The prices has gone up because people are really using it all around the globe now. So that's why I said, let me go into planting. At least if I plant, I'll be using my input. Yeah, the input from the farm, I'll be using it in my factory. So it will bring down the prices, and I'll be able to help these people too. Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier in the episode that there was a big cassava farm near you right there. Is that, would you be planting in that or expanding that? Is there land available to do that?
Yeah, there's land available to do that. There's land available, but it's just that when they harvest this thing, they have to wait another 7, 8 months before they harvest another one. And then
Mhm.
not all the farmers around me have they don't have that species of 7 to 8 months. Yeah, so they are still planting the same ones of 1.5, between 1.5 and 2 years to full maturity. So yeah, um being that I've worked with ITA, so I know there's an improved variety. And if I plant it, I'll be able to expand the horizon, give them the cassava stems, and then they will be able to plant it too. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So
Okay.
available.
And IAT can provide the seeds.
Yes. The
Got it.
seeds and the stems. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Um, Before we talk about your other projects, is there anything else that you want to share about the cassava factory?
Yeah. Well, I'm just grateful that I'm into the cassava. I never knew it will grow to such an extent. I never knew because as a child, I learned how to do these things from my grandma. Yeah, when I go for holidays with her in the village. I will just sit by her, watch her do it. Yeah, every process I'll be there with her. So I never knew that it will be useful to these people here. So I just watched everything as she's doing it, and I help out. Whenever she wants to stand up to go and eat, I'll just sit there and help her to turn it. So as I'm turning, I'm feeling the heat, and then I came here and I began to think, how do I stop these people feeling so much heat from this? And God helped me.
Oh, it's amazing. I apologize for my dogs going crazy in the background. You can hear them.
Yeah.
Um, it's amazing sometimes what maybe God brings into our lives throughout time, and 20 years go by or 30 years go by,
Yeah.
and then you come back to it and you're like, oh wow, this is something that I learned back then and now it's useful. And
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
really neat. And it's really neat to hear that you learned it from your grandma and
yeah,
through quality time. Yeah.
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 Thank you.
That's really cool. I think I I sometimes I worry that we're losing that passing down of things from generation to generation, and especially grandparents to grandchildren.
Yeah,
And those special things that like what you've got right now, which can keep this part of the world going. It's pretty amazing.
yeah.
Yeah,
Easy.
yeah.
Easy. Thank you.
Um, So some of the other projects that you have going on, I know have kind of stemmed off of being located there and seeing other things that are happening. I wonder if you want to speak to those before we close up, because I think that they all in effect are focused on, like, they just happen to be things that bring about sustainability for your community and improve the conditions and make them more sustainable for everybody. So I would love for you to talk about those as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. I also have this reusable parts project. Was the I have these girls all around me, and I will see them. They won't go to school for some days in a month. I ask them, and they are very secretive. They don't want to tell me. I went to their parents, and they too, they are secretive. So I got really close to one of them. Now, please, I need you to tell me, why don't you go to school at this particular time of the week? She now told me that it's during a period time and they can't afford disposable parts. So I was so sad. I felt sad that why is this still happening in the world? So I had to fathom out what can I do to help them, because truly disposable parts, sanitary towels are very expensive here. So I had to, because I learned how to sew. I learned how to sew. So I had to go online, search how to make reusable parts, and I started producing it. And through that, I was able to give at least, if I can give two, but it's expensive to make because we have to be extremely clean. It has to be
Mhm.
extremely clean
Mhm.
and handled with care. So to achieve that, it's a bit difficult. So, and I use an old machine here. So I had to at least do what I can to help them to make the usable parts so they can go to school at that particular time. And then the problem with it is that they have to rewash and reuse. It's unlike the disposable ones or the cup or the tampons.
Mhm.
So they have to wash and reuse. But at least that will get them to school. They will be able to go to school. So that's one of the projects. I also thought that maybe if I could teach some of them to make it. I've not really got into that, but I thought if I could teach some of them to make it so that they will be able to make it themselves and use. There won't be any um I making it, and then I have other projects going on too. So if I can teach them, that would be better. So though I've not really gotten into that because most of them don't they are always looking for what to eat, and unless I have to pay them to come and learn.
Okay. Okay.
To do that. I'm not financially capable. So that's it for now. And the second project I have at hand now is to really plant cassava in large scale so that I'll be able to use my input, as I said earlier. And we have the land, we have the manpower, but it's the financial capability to be able to do that that's really incapacitating me. So the third project I have, it's in 2021, that's about 2 years ago, I lost one of my daughters that we came here together. So because of the medical facility that's not readily available here, we lost her because she couldn't breathe well, and things happened and she died. We took her to a very good hospital, but then it was too late. So people were telling me that I should take her things out, burn them, so that I won't remember it again, because she was 16-year-old. So I said no, because I knew my daughter loved to give people things. She loved giving out things. So just like her mom. so so I thought, instead of burning her things, why don't I wash them up, get them cleaned, and give them to the nearest home that is near me. Now that should be a home facility that can. Okay, thank you. So yeah, so I washed our things up and decided to take you to the nearest orphanage, a home at Oshogbo. It's close here. So when we got there, the children ran to me, and I was so surprised. I didn't know what God was saying was that He wanted me to see the nature, the things that's happening there. So when I got there, I saw the children. They are so unkempt. I'm sorry to say this. That's online, because my government might not want me to say it, but they were unkempt. The children, oh God, I was so sad. It added another weight to what I was bringing. So we gave them what we brought, and I decided to look around, to have a look around. I was taken to the children this department, section by section. So I looked at them, and I decided I was going to help them. I was going to do something about their situation, that if I can get women all around the world to donate shoes, bags, whatever they have, clothing, and books, especially books. I can get them to donate this and help these people. They really need our help. So many of them, without nobody is taking care of them. Our government is doing a little. They have to wait each month for what the government will do, and it's not much. It's not really reaching them. It's not really enough. So we really need to help them out. So I decided to start that with my daughter's name. That's Oluwadabira Foundation. That if I can get help from people who will donate, and will get them settled, especially if I start with the one in Oshogbo here, then it will really go a long way if I can go around all the states in Nigeria to help them. They need shoes, clothing, books, writing materials, and all. So many things that they need there, section by section, that we have from age zero, because we have abandoned children, yeah, from age 0 to 6 months. Then we have from 6 months to 2 years. We have from 2 years to age 5. We have from 5 to 10, then from 10 to 15. I just gave the authorities what I brought, but I decided that I want to see what's happening.
Okay.
So that was, yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me first say that I'm just so sorry for your loss and so sorry for the loss of your daughter. Um, what an amazing thing for you to do with the donations, and then seeing that there's even more need and working to try to help that. How, if anyone is listening to this conversation right now, how I know you mentioned they can help through physical donations. Logistically, how would that work? You can help me put details into the show notes, but how should someone get in touch with you if they would like to help with any of the projects that you've mentioned today?
Okay, let me just put in my let me put in my email and then my phone number.
Okay. You can actually give it to me and I'll add it. I can add it to the video and
Oh,
I'll add it to the I'll
okay,
add it to the show notes.
okay.
And
How do I give you
I can get it from you
in the
after.
chat?
Yeah, you can if
Oh,
it's easy for you to do chat, or I can get it for you from you after too. If that might be easier than trying to put it in. Um, but basically, people can email you or call you if they would like
yes,
to help, and you can provide more detail. And I
yes.
will, after we record, before I put together the show notes for your show, I'll get some more details from you too, and we'll put all that in there to make it
Oh,
easy for people who are listening to go there as well.
okay,
Um,
okay, yeah.
so one last thing, everybody who comes on my show, I ask them to share one simple thing that people who are listening and watching could do in their lives today to help make this a better world. Do you have an idea to share?
Yeah, I do. It's just to be kind to humans, to animals, even to plants. Just be kind. We should be kind to each other. We are all here for a short while, so we need to be kind. Yeah, yeah, we need to be kind. It makes the world a better place to live in. So it's I call it giggle. That's garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you put in into the world, you get it back. If you plant hatred, that's what you have. Or if you plant love, kindness, then it makes the world a better place to live in. We all have enough problems on our hands than to, and it's not good for us to add more. So just let's be kind and love each other. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for joining me today and talking with me and answering all my questions. And I really appreciate it.